Good morning and welcome to this CIG TV live update for Hurricane Beryl. I'm joined by Chief Meteorologist Kerry Powery from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Thank you so much for being here. So, give us all the good news.
Good news, not too sure. But here's the latest coordinates as of 4 a.m. We have Beryl located at 18.5 north, 81.0 west. That's about 55 miles south-southeast of Grand Cayman. Right? It's currently moving towards the west-northwest at 20 miles per hour. Still a Category 3 with winds of 150 miles per hour. Correction, 120 miles per hour. My bad. 120 miles per hour. It's a Category 3 storm. It has been weakening throughout the night, and though they expect some more weakening, it's not going to be too significant by the time it gets to its closest approach to us, which is expected around 6 o'clock, especially for Grand Cayman. Right. In terms of its closest point of approach, that would bring it approximately 49 miles to the south around 6 a.m. this morning, bringing us a bit closer to those dangerous, strong hurricane force winds. So, but right now we are estimated just below that. We're looking at perhaps 65 to 70 miles per hour during those peak periods, and begin to subside as the Beryl starts to move away from our shore. But leading up to that, we're having some dangerous waves with storm surge of 2 to 4 feet on top of waves expected of 10 to 15 feet. Again, in terms of timelines, the BRAC end of tropical storm force winds for the BRAC are expected to start around 6:30. Little Cayman about an hour later, and for us it'll be around 11:30 a.m. Right? If we look at the radar, this is our Kearney-Gomez Doppler radar, and it's showing you the circulation. That's the center of Beryl. This is Grand Cayman, and our sister islands are to the northeast. Right now they're covered by this green, which is moderate showers. They have been experiencing these showers for a while now, and as you see, they could be expected to see similar conditions probably for at least the next few hours. For us, we're closer to the center. As it comes closer, some of these bands, especially close around the center or the eye wall, will get closer to us. We could expect the moderate to strong intensity of showers impacting our area. So flooding concern is a possibility. We have abnormal tides as well. So the 4 to 6 inches expected over Grand Cayman will pose a challenge in the flood areas. And as I mentioned, the battering waves will be impacting mostly the southern coast of Grand Cayman as the wind wraps around from the east to the southeast as Beryl moves towards the northwest.
And tell us a little bit of, you said the eye will come as close to us around 6 a.m. But after 6 a.m., how long do you anticipate that we will still see rainy conditions until, you know, it tapers off to, you know, almost completely stopping?
Okay, as you look at the radar's depicting the showers. So for this interpretation, all the showers seems to be skewed towards the northeast, to our sister islands. So basically, you're here and our rings are 100 nautical miles. So if the system is moving about 20 miles an hour, you have potentially about another 5 hours of potential moderate showers to possibly go through before you start to see a gradual improvement. So again, we're kind of looking at around that midday period to start to see some improvement, but showers could still happen throughout the day into the evening. But Friday looks like a more calmer day, and would allow us to go back to start doing our recovery if needed, and start to try to return back to normal life.
Now, while this shows the rainfall that is generally expected, talk to us about wind and storm surge. When are those at a heightened risk that persons should be most aware or most concerned that it stands a high chance of happening? And then when do you suspect that, for example, storm surge will subside and wind will also begin to die down?
The storm surge figures are basically associated, surrounding the core of Beryl. So we're expecting those to be 2 to 4 feet, and when it gets close to us, that's around 6 a.m., those storm surge will be added on top of the waves. So like I mentioned, we're expecting 15 to 19 foot waves. So that should be peaking around 6 this morning and start to taper off as it goes away. So again, everything seems to be hinting to a mid-morning gradual improvement from mid-morning. For the rainfall now, again, as the system gets closer, we get closer to these spiral band around the center. That's where you will find a heavier activity, shower activity, and more intense the rainfall. So your rainfall accumulations would be fairly high. And again, those should start to subside again from like mid-morning, but are likely to continue at a much lesser degree through the rest of this evening.
Talk to us now for our seafarers who still go to sea in their boats. What are the marine conditions expected after the eye passes, and when can mariners expect to be able to put their vessels back to the open waters?
From model projections, right, Beryl moves out of the air because of its movement, 20 miles per hour. It should move fairly quickly out of our region. Having said that, swells lingering following Beryl would maintain our seas on our rough side, potentially for Friday 5 to 7 feet. So at that point in time, we would recommend a small craft warning for vessels, small vessels, if they do venture offshore. But additional concerns would be any lingering debris being dragged along Beryl from across the Eastern Caribbean. So that adds a little bit of further risk. So recommendations to the public will be to perhaps stay in harbor at least through Friday, and on Saturday we look to go back to normal seas about 3 to 5 feet.
Any updates for us on barometric pressure that people should be aware of?
The last pressure reading at 4 a.m. had 968 millibars, or 28.59 inches of mercury.
And for those who are not quite sure how to understand pressure in everyday layman's terms, explain to us the importance of pressure and why it's measured and what information can be gathered.
Pressure and wind are related. Essentially, especially with a tropical cyclone, if the pressure drops, the winds tends to increase, and likewise, if the winds decrease, the pressure starts to rise. So they inverse to each other.
And which one do we want?
We want pressure to rise, therefore bringing our winds down.
All right. So any further updates that you have for us regarding weather?
Again, we're expecting, for Grand Cayman, we're expecting the more dangerous conditions around these hours, potentially for another 3-4 hours. Mainly then it starts to subside. But at this point in time, we should be indoors, sheltering in place, and not venturing outside. And even after conditions start to improve, it's recommended to wait for the all clear to be given by government officials.
Not to get you into trouble, but if you were to guesstimate for our viewing public, how much longer would you assume that the shelter-in-place measures will roughly be in place before that utility all-clear is given and then subsequently the all-clear?
It's a hard decision to say. There's a lot of factors to take involved. Weather is one. As I mentioned, the potential lingering showers, maybe even some lightning being involved with it, and the impact that Beryl has caused, the damage. We have to assess, the government, we have to assess the damages and evaluate the risk. So for example, if you have a lot of down power lines, they have to try to restore them, or a lot of debris on the road, you have to clear those. So it takes some time to evaluate, to get some of these processes going and get the response and notification of what has occurred before a final decision is made in terms of the all clear. It is potentially that conditions are slightly better for the sister islands, so there may be a consideration of giving an earlier all clear for them, but again, assessments would have to be done which encompass both weather and any damage assessment and any repairs, that response mechanisms that will be required.
You know that if you guys give a all clear early for Cayman Brac in Little Cayman, it's going to further push the stigma that the sister islands are better than Grand Cayman. But thank you so much for giving us that update. When can we expect the next intermediate update from the National Hurricane Center and then the next full update? The
next intermediate update, or just a positional update, would occur around 7 a.m. with the full package, advisory package, coming in at 10 a.m. This morning.
That is Chief Meteorologist Mr. Kerry Powery from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Thank you so much for tuning in to this CIG TV live update for Hurricane Beryl. We will have more updates throughout the morning as we get more updates from the National Hurricane Center as well as from the staff of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Again, we want to remind the general public that the Cayman Islands is under a hurricane warning. That has not changed. The Cayman Islands is still under a stay-in-place order, or a shelter-in-place order, meaning that members of the public are expected to stay in their safe dwellings and not on the road until the all clear is given. Live from the Cayman Islands Government Administration Building, I'm Javi Ebanks. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.